He's a coach and digital content creator, computer science engineer from Tec de Monterrey, dedicated to creating and delivering business training programs. He has been part of the a certified coach in behavioral transformation. He has a certification for problem solving and strategic communication from the Italian School of Professor Giorgio Nardone. He has created and taught many training programs for individuals and companies, including Bimbo, Kraft, Levi's. He is to date formed a program for entrepreneurs, Emprende Ya, which has advised over 50 to 60 projects per year in the entrepreneurship world. He started the Coyua Business Academy that offers training programs in human capital and business process to entrepreneurs and to large corporations. And he has also created digital marketing agency Ivarica, which supports companies to sell products and services and promote themselves through the internet. And then finally, we have Caldwell Butler from Servia Americas. He's a senior commercial executive for Servia. Somebody's making a lot of noise. Jorge, it was you. He is a human capital firm that enables companies to expand operations and hire remotely anywhere in the world. He's a native of Louisiana, USA. Caldwell has studied or worked in 6 Spanish-speaking countries, and I can say he speaks perfect Spanish from our last call. Prior to joining Servia, Caldwell was a senior consultant at Booz Allen Hamilton, a defense consulting firm, where he focused on international initiatives and public health programs for the U.S. Air Force. He holds a BA in the International Affairs from the George Washington University. So I'm very happy to have these amazing speakers to present this very interesting subject for today's presentation. Thank you.
So Laura, would you like to give some words to the Ambassador Marcela Celorio so she can give some welcoming words, and then we'll start our panel?
Yes, Ambassador Celorio is joining us to welcome us and to offer the welcoming remarks for this presentation.
Thank you, dear Laura. Hello everybody, and thank you for inviting me to participate in the welcoming remarks. I just want to share with you all that from the consulate we have been working very hard to be in touch with the community, to assist them and protect them, but also to other sectors of the community as entrepreneurs, businessmen. And I am very happy to have this alliance with the Chamber of Commerce, the United States-Mexico Chamber of Commerce here in California. And please do not hesitate to get in touch with us, to reach out in order to be able to identify venues of collaboration. And just to end with more than ever, technology, media, innovation, science, are the most important areas that we should embrace even more than before in order to succeed. So thank you so much, and we'll be here, pretty attentive to what you say.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. And we start with our first panelist and the presentation that will be offered.
Yeah, you can skip the first one and go to the second video. There you go. Thank you.
Okay, so how you start? That's your first,
Let's start with the second video, please. Play it. Only a few seconds. Hmm. You didn't play?
yeah.
Okay.
Is it supposed to play? No, it's not.
All right. Well, all right. How to transform your company from physical to digital. Okay, he's not playing. Well, let me start by saying that regardless of your type of business, all industries are facing the same challenges during the coronavirus outbreak. It affects the United States, and not only the United States, but the entire world. In this situation, a different way of negotiating as well as selling and buying is imminent. All right. So, are you ready for the consumption changes that are coming? Same game, different strategy. From physical to digital. Next slide, please. Consumers will modify their minds, but they don't stop. I mean, they modify their minds, but they don't stop basic consumption. Customers will continue eating, drinking, shopping, moving, but in a different way than ever before, right? There will be less use of Uber, rental cars, and more purchases through deliveries, more home offices, and more home businesses. That's the reality. All right, next slide. There are ways that you can continue working remotely and digitally. This is where social media plays a very important role. What used to be an option for fun or recreation is now a must for businesses, a necessity and part of the fundamental strategy for the survival of companies. This is a reality, regardless of their size, whether they're small, medium, or large. Right? I'm going to give you an example of next slide of what Dell Computers did. All right, Dell Computers in the first 2 weeks of isolation, Dell Technologies got in contact with close to 500 people from 8 different countries to share their strategy during the new era and listen to the clients in order to adjust to the new tendencies of the market. Dell Computers did it. So if you're smaller than Dell Computers, you must think about the strategy that they use. You have to get involved. All right. If you don't adapt yourself to the market tendencies, you'll be out of business. There is not but, no ifs. You will be out of business. I said on my last conference at the Council of Mexico that it wouldn't be more than 2 years before people will be out of business if they don't get into the digital era. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now guess what? Coronavirus speed up the action. Now, if you're not digitally, you'll be out of business sooner than ever before, sooner than you think. Because if you have the budget to wait, great. But if you don't get into digital era, you'll be out of business. Right? Life goes on. Only now it's more digital than ever before. Let's go to the next slide. The question is, what are you waiting for? 2 billion people are waiting for you. People are more connected than ever before, including your current and potential new clients, potential business partners, investors, and lenders. And of course, your competition. So the question is, which social media platform is ideal for your business? Right? I'm going to give you a quick example of a client of mine that it took me 2 years to get him to understand that digitally was the new era of doing business. He used to sell bars and stools for restaurants, businesses, all kinds of chairs. That's all he did. So he had his base was out of Miramar in San Diego, California, and his business was very good business. So after 2 years that I convinced him to go internet, we start selling bar stools via internet. And the funny part is that people will deposit the money, he placed the order, and the vendor will ship directly to his clients. It got to the point that he called me one day. He said, "George, I need your advice." And I said, "What is that? What is it?" He said, "You know what? I can believe I didn't understand what you were trying to say to me in 2 years. But now I gotta share with you that I'm selling more product via internet than at my actual facility. The question is, what do you suggest? Should I shut down my business or my physical business? And I said, unfortunately, that's not an advice that I can give to you, but I knew that you were going to make more money through the internet. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care if you were physical, if you were used to just that. If you don't change, you'll be out of business. And I don't care what type of business you do, any business can be transformed into a digital business. Any business. Thanks to social media, you can have a closer relationship with your existing clients and potential clients. Social media allows you to show a more transparent and reliable image of your business, and more importantly, that you are available for their needs. All right? Next slide. Now, you use social media, you can share your brand personality. All right? Can we see the next slide? You can go on onto brand personality. Remember, you are a solution maker. That's what you are. Why? Because you solve your clients' problems. All right? Your service or your product. That's what you are. What you need to understand is that an expected arrival of COVID-19 is transforming the digital era, and it's here to stay, right? And for those businesses, don't take advantage of this amazing opportunity and don't adapt the way of doing business, meaning from physical to digital, they will be out of business. It's not what, why, or how. The question is when. Remember, my friends, speed is power. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Go. Just okay. All right. Let me and like I said, you have to pick which social media is the right platform for your business. Could be 1, 2, 3, or all of them. It doesn't matter. But you have to be in the digital business nowadays. Now I'm gonna give you a tip on what you got to do. First of all, go ahead. Go to the 3 more slides. Restructure your business from physical to virtual, which is the strategy that you're gonna use. All right. If you don't know it, there are professionals. That's all we do for a living. We create strategies. People, companies hire me to find new markets for them. All right. So, remember, tip number 1. I mean, restructure your business. All right. Which strategy you're gonna use? Create social media. Promote through social media. Educate your clients and ideal clients. Give them value. All right. Value of your product, your service, a workshop, whatever you got to do to give them value. The more value you give them, the more they will stay with you. The problem with most businesses right now is that they don't educate their public. I had a meeting with a real estate from Long Beach a few months ago, and she wanted me to help her bring up her business. I asked her, is there any programs for new buyers? I said, yeah, we have these wonderful products. Do you have programs for renters? Oh yes, we have these amazing programs. Do you teach your clients or potential clients all these wonderful programs? And she says, no, everybody should know it. No, everybody should know it. I didn't know it. Why should I know it? What makes you think that people should know about your business? Educate people. When you educate people, when people need you, they will come to whoever educate them. That's common sense, and that's what happens in social media. All right. So when all this passes, you will be preferred by your clients because you were there to serve them all along, to help them, to educate them. Remember that many of the purchases are influenced by emotions, the closeness and loyalty to the clients. So try to do that, and believe me, your business will boom. I have another client that is been doing that since COVID-19 started, just educating people in San Diego about buying homes. And right now he cannot show the homes, but he has a list of clients waiting to see houses. Imagine that, huh? If you don't adapt your business to the new market tendencies of super business, you will disappear. All right, let's go to the next slide, please. A couple more. Another thing that I want to tell you, and I'm going to talk to you about a little bit, is Sell your experience. The experience you have on your business, on your product. It's funny, but you could sell it. All right. Uh, and for those who need or that don't know or what social media can do for them, I gotta tell you, social media is much cheaper and allows you to renew your repertory. Something is so fundamental. If you not want to avoid boring or bore your audience, you have to stay. You have to get on board with social media and give them all this education they need, all about your company, where you come from, what you've been doing. All that is so much importance nowadays in social media. All right. If somebody follows you in social media, it's because they really have an interested in you, your product or your service. But if you don't get on that, believe me, nobody will know. And you might think it's funny, but your experience, I don't care whatever it is, it has so much value that you'll be surprised. For example, I'll give you one example. There's a platform called Hotmart. You go there, you learn things, and you buy videos. You buy stories. Go to the next slide. There's a guy that he knows how to fix. Dishwashers. Sorry, washers and dryers. Washers and dryers. He sells over $2 million a month on teaching people how to fix washers. I mean, dishwashers and dryers. Who would have thought of that? Now, let me ask you, do you have anything more important than fixing washers and dryers? So if you do, believe me, that's a lot of value and it's worth some money. Your experience is valuable. Now, imagine if people are willing to buy to hear you, imagine if you could really educate people for free. And if you educate them about your business, they will end up buying from you, right? If you're unsure about digital business, well, now you don't have to think about it anymore, because if you don't jump on this wire, your business will suffer. And believe me, it will. Do something about it. If you don't know how, don't worry. I'll be more than happy to show you the way. All right. So I'm gonna, if you allow me to, very quickly, I'm gonna give a gift for all those that are listening. I'm gonna do it for 20 people only. For the first 20 people that are interested in taking their business to the next level, I'm gonna give them a 1 hour consultation on how to do it, how to get it there. And I'm gonna do something very special for you guys. I normally charge $250 an hour. So what I'm gonna do for the first 20 people that send a text message to the following number, 619-365-0290. I'll put it in the chat in a minute with a code saying special 2020. I will give you a 1 full hour of marketing consultation for only $60. All right? But you gotta take advantage of this, all right? That's my gift to you. And believe me, this is an opportunity to really make something big out of your business, product, service, whatever you do, everything can be done. So thank you very much for this time, and I'll stick around at the end for questions and if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. Thank you very much for that very, very interesting presentation. And I'm sure many of our audience will take advantage of the opportunity for a personal consultation with you. Our next panelist is Francisco Valencia.
Hi.
Hi, Francisco. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here with you today. So, well, Jorge just convinced all of you that we have to go digital. I'm sure of that. So, technology can be a tricky thing, I know. And I'm going to give you some advice of the experience that we have about technology. And I don't know if you have Marlene the slides. So we can share. Great. So I'm gonna share with you our perspective about this really important topic of learning how to use the new technology and how to adopt it, integrating and engaging your team. That's it. That's very important. So let's start. Next, please. By breaking down into three subtopics this conference. So first of all, let's talk about, we're going to talk about learning, how to do it. Second, next, please. We're going to talk about technology, how to use it and adapt it. And next, please. We're going to talk about your team, how to integrate them and engage them. So can we go to next, please? Next and the next. So let's talk about learning. We at Anchor, we have it's like a mindset. It's a part of our values to be in constant learning. So we use this experiential learning cycle to try to absorb all the learnings that we are gaining from our environment and about everything that we are doing. So when we do a thing, when we have a tangible experience of anything, we try to reflect on how that went, what we experienced without with that thing that happened, and we actively observe and try to reflect on that to go to draw some conclusions, and then we're able to apply those conclusions, those learnings to the next thing that we are doing. So we are absorbing everything that we are doing. If you are in the technology business, you have to be learning all the time. So this is part of how we do things, how we do our work. We are constantly learning, and we have a framework for that. So I'm sharing the framework with you. Maybe you can find it useful for what you're doing. Can we go to the next one? So this is about learning. Let's talk about technology. That is the core part of what we are talking about today. Next, please. I'm going to talk specifically. There's a lot of technology. There's technology for health, technology for food, but we are going to talk about digital transformation. So next, please. Digital transformation is not about upgrading your technology, but next, please. It's about upgrading your strategic thinking. It's not about getting a tool. It's not about buying that software. It's not about building an e-commerce platform. It's about thinking how you can shift your assumptions to a new paradigm, to a new way of thinking that is thinking on a digital world. So let me talk about this on the next slide. We help companies to make their digital transformation process. We help them to. We walk with them through the process, and some companies approach to us and say, I want an e-commerce, I want a mobile application, I need a tool to gather information from here and to live report it on this dashboard, and well, a lot of things. So instead of seeing, can we go next, please? Instead of seeing these just acquisition of tools, I want you to think about making shifts on your strategic assumptions. So I want to tell you that we see 5 main things that you have to like be very aware of. The first one is about your customers. Try to think not as mass markets that you are reaching, but as dynamic networks. So try to harness customer networks, because people are affecting each other. They're thinking that what they think about your services or your products, it's affecting other customers. So you're not talking one way to customers. It's being a two-way communication, and you have to harness that those networks. The second way you have to think, it's about competition. You have to stop thinking that you have like fixed competitors. You don't know who your competitors are right now, because the lines are blurred, and you cannot define who's your competition anymore. So try to go beyond building products, try to build platforms so you can fulfill a set of needs instead of just delivering a product. And the third shift that we have to do is regarding data. So before it was like we studied structured data, we saw the reports, and we just made improved operation based on that. But right now we are gathering a lot of information, and here the challenge is to transform those big amounts of data into valuable assets. So those assets, those data have to be we have to convert them into meaningful insights to take strategic decisions. The fourth that we have to shift is our innovation process. So we have to stop thinking about minimizing failure in innovation and start thinking how we can test more. How can we innovate rapidly and experiment and make more experimentation, test more, gather more information, and learn from that. And the last thing that I want you to change how you think about, it's your value proposition. Stop thinking that you can improve your existing or refine your existing business model, but try to configure your business model to be adaptable to the evolving customer needs. So if you upgrade that strategic thinking from analog to digital, you will make a successful transition to a digital world. Can we go to the next one, please? So I know we talk about that. The technology could be very tricky. Can we go to the next one? So here would be like 4 things that I want you to be aware. The first one is that digital transformation, it's irreversible. You cannot unwalk that path. So if you start your digital transformation, you can stop it. And this crisis that we are living today, it's just making it happen more quickly. So we have to react very, very quick and start our digital transformation right now. We cannot stop it. Can we go to the next one, please? Sometimes technologically powered solutions could be very expensive. There's always a software that's very expensive, that is very comprehensive. It has a lot of functionality, but there's always a Ferrari in every industry. So you don't have to have a Ferrari if you're just learning how to drive. So I know solutions can be very expensive, but you can find a way to get technology that it's on the level that you can pay, and you can really make money using that technology. Can we go to the next one, please? And the other thing is that talking about technology, you will always be outdated. Just check your phone. You think you can have the latest update on your operating system, but you do not. At Apple, at Google, they're working 5 or 6 versions ahead of what you have, because they're always trying new versions. They're always testing. So it happens with technology. You are always outdated, but don't be frustrated for that. Just think, if that technology fulfills your needs, your strategic needs in a certain period of time, that will be fine. So be aware that you have to be constantly updating your technological tools, but don't be frustrated if you are not up to date all the time. Okay, can we go to the next one? And the next one, it's you have to be aware of the hidden costs. So if you are planning to develop a mobile application, you have to be aware that you have to pay Amazon for their cloud services, or Google, or you have to pay marketing efforts to make people know that your app exists and download it and it uses, and you have to build your client base, so you have to invest more money. So just be aware that it's not the cost of acquiring a technology, a tool, but there are a lot of costs around it. So just get close to somebody that knows about that, and somebody that you can trust, and ask them what else do we have to pay if we go this way or that way, and you will have a more clear budget and more realistic budget to plan your spendings. Can we go next one, please? And we have to follow a process to do this. Can we go to next? The first step is try to understand what's your real challenge. At this point, you could use some help. You cannot do this from your office. You have to gather your team, and maybe you have to invite some other people that know about this and help you to discover what's the real challenge that you're facing, and try to define very clearly what's your problem. So when you know when you have the right problem, you will find the right answers. So next, please. We can go to step two. Step two, it's about finding inspiration. So we know our problem. So let's see what others are doing. What are others doing in the same industry, or within our competitors, or other players on our industry? But what are they doing in other industries? And what are they doing on Silicon Valley? They are always innovating and using disruptive methods of everything. So look at what they are doing, and you will find a lot of inspiration on this. Next, please. The step is to ideate a solution. So you've already gathered information. Try to connect those inspiration pieces to to your problem. Look how others solve their problems, and try to translate it to your problem. At the first point, try to get rid of the restrictions. Don't think about I don't have enough money, I don't have the people, I don't have the time, I don't have other resources. Get rid of that while you're working on solutions, because you can be more creative. So try to get rid of that, and you can get a viable solution. So try to prototype that solution and try to do it the easiest and the cheapest way. So you can try it. Next, please. The step number 4, it's about implementing, trying, testing. So test your prototype and try to learn as much as you can. Forget about failure. Failure, it's part of the process. So you will fail, you will make mistakes. Try to make mistakes as cheap and as soon as possible. After that, try to reflect and learn from those mistakes, and try to improve your prototype to finally deliver a solution. Next, please. So here's the whole process. Next, please. The whole process. So when you go through all the process, be aware that you have to be ready to iterate, to start all over again, and to reframe your problem, to understand the new challenge that you're facing, because when you go through these steps, you will have new challenges. So you will have learnings, and just try to do it differently. And please. to improve it. It's very similar to the creative process. This is the creative process that we use when we have a design challenge. So it's we use this creative process on implementing technology. Next, please. And just finish, let's talk about your team. How can you integrate it? Next. How, how can you integrate your team? How can you engage them? The first thing, try to understand what they're facing. Understand that their context matters and it affects their performance. So try to understand if they are, how they will be affected by these tech solutions that you are trying to bring to the company. Try to understand how they are interacting with the problem or the challenge that you're facing. Next, please. After understanding, listen. If you have done well, if you have the right people, they will know more about your company, about your business than you do. So listen what they have to tell you. And next, please. And involve them on the the technology tools adoption. Let them know that they all have a voice, but maybe they don't all have a vote. So you will decide, but you will you will get a lot of listening and involving them on your decision. Next, please. And most important, learn together, learn with them, reflect with them of what happened on the tests that you are making, and draw conclusions together. So you will both get a lot of learnings, and you will both grow your business and your team both grow. So you can have more experience for the next time you try to do something similar. Next, please. So remember this experiential learning cycle. No? This is what we are trying to do. So if we don't test, it's very difficult to gain learnings. Next. And conclude, just to remember, learn how to learn. That's why I took the time to explain you how we learn. Try to upgrade your strategic thinking. Don't obsess with a technological tool. Define what's your real challenge. Make experiments, try, test, and don't be afraid to fail. Involve your team. And next, please. And if you involve them and you do all this that we have just talked about, you will be completely fine. Next, please. And thank you very much. I know, I'm sure now you are ready to rock. If you want us to help you with anything of your digital transformation process, we will be glad to do that. If you want to scan the code, you can get the presentation so you can get all the information on your phone. Very much.
Thank you, Francisco. That's a very interesting presentation. I don't know if you want to take the opportunity as a member of our chamber to discuss a little bit your company and in the context of your presentation. Any related comments?
Yeah, Francisco, tell us a little bit about what you do. You have a very interesting platform that you work with movie theaters and so forth. You're a Mexican company in Morelia, Michoacan, my hometown. So we would like just a few minutes what you say so people understand, how they can connect with you.
Sure, we have some experience with some years of experience with entertainment industry. We have worked with the biggest cinema chain in Mexico and Latin America, the second largest in the world. So right now we are working with cinemas in California. They were very affected with this crisis, with this COVID pandemic outbreak. And we are developing still their mobile applications and their website, and a lot of elements that connects to improve their digital experience. So we work with those cinemas, but we can work with any other industry to help them with their digital transformation process. So what we do is first we make an assessment, try to understand where they are in the digital transformation process, and we try to go through the same process that I just showed you. We gather information from the company, from the industry, and we present solutions that can help them to change their strategic thinking and improve their systems, their technological tools. So it helps to improve their digital experience, and it is related to an increase of sales and well, in case of the movie theaters, the increase of people going to the cinema and buying things, buying food and beverages on the restaurant and bar. So we will be glad to help if you are interested on this. Just give me a call. You can visit our website, or Marlene has my contact, so we can connect if you need any help regarding this.
Or if you want to write your contact in the chat so people can see it.
Sure, I can definitely do that.
Great as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that very interesting presentation. Now we have our next speaker is Francisco Gonzalez of Cayua Business Academy, and he will also present us with information on how creative technology can be used in today's environment. Thank you, Francisco.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hope you are fine and safe. Thanks for listening. And I prepared this topic because creativity is one of my passions, and I use all the time as a problem solver. And I train a lot of people to develop their own creativity skills. So I will share you some tips to do it too. I hope I make myself clear, but if not, please feel free to ask any questions at the end of the presentation in case we have some time. Next, please. So I think creativity is the only solution for any crisis, to handle any crisis or fast growth in business. As Francisco Valencia said, we need to use the creativity model to validate some things, but sometimes we are not very confident about to be creative. And I want to tell you some facts why. First, remember, a good idea can change your life, can change your business, can change your sales. But as a humans, we expect that everything in our lives works as we imagine. So we generate an expectation, and we expect that is going to happen. But anything that interrupts our flow is judged as a problem. But life isn't linear. We solve little problems. We solve little problems all the time. We have problems all the time. But we don't solve it sometimes at the right way. Next, please. The issue is that we are not trained to be creative. We are not trained at school. We train it to be or to copy processes and do it perfectly. Yes, in school, we learn to solve problems that already exist, like in math or chemistry. Those problems that we think that was problems, this already has a solution. In history, for example, we learn history just when problems had happened and someone else solved them. To know that information doesn't make us creative. We can be inspired or something like that, but it's absurd to think that make us creative. Today in the school, it happens yet. In college, we study success cases,
But all of those problems have the same logic. All of they are already solved by someone else. When we get our first job, someone else teaches what to do. It's not nothing to think, nothing to be creative. Generally, most of the people, when they start a business, they copy an existing business model and try to do it as well as they can. We usually go to training programs or video tutorials or online training programs looking for someone who tell us what to do. In fact, maybe some of you are here for the same reason. Maybe. So next, please. So now that we are in this crisis, working at home because of the pandemic, we have to stay in. Most people don't know what to do and are hoping that someone will tell them what to do or how to solve it. Our teachers and parents limit our creativity in childhood. They didn't do it on purpose. It was unconscious. But that is how we were educated. So few people start to generate some ideas, but they have doubts. Other people's, the innovators, take their ideas and make them work. But my point is that everybody can do that. And here is how. Please, the next one. We use creativity to solve problems. And now we have a lot with the homework or home office. This is the thing. Anyone can solve home office work or lead a team remotely, or people can use their own creativity. If you are a person who thinks you are not creative, let me tell you that all human beings are born creative. But as just I said, while growing up, some people limit you. You say, no, no that, shut up, don't do that, you're going to break it, any kind of that stuff. But they are not aware of it, but they did. The good news is that you can recover your sense of creativity. Now that we are adults and professionals, what limits us is not this lack of a creativity, is the fear to fail or make something worse. Where do we learn that? Yes, in the school. In fact, next please, schools kills creativity. And that's not my opinion or my idea. Sir Ken Robinson explained in one of the most viewed TED Talks of all the times. In fact, that is the title of his talk, that schools kills creativity. That's because sorry about the word, but the stupid traditional education teaches that everything that is not 10 is wrong. But in real life, success is the result of experimentation, and failing is part of the process. You will fail, but in the way, you will win. So, when we go creative, we must understand that we have a new learning curve. Next, please. For that, you can use creativity methodologies. Next, please. I recommend to use Eric Rice's Lean Startup methodology combined with lateral thinking of Edward de Bono. If you want to make some photo to the books and the authors, I will stop here and explain this slide. And learn to make brainstormings. You can do it alone or with your virtual team remotely. And generate new ways or methods to work. Try it until it works. In the process, you will fail. But when you understand the lateral thinking process, you will realize that failure is part of the process. Use this logic. Just Francisco Valencia said in his presentation, the same concept, but it was so quickly. So I will go slower to understand this because it's very important. fail fast, and fail cheap, and learn and repeat. You don't change the way you work in whole organization with your 100 staff. You can make some changes in a few people in a little team, and if it works, then you go to the whole organization. So until you have a new proven ways to work, yes, then you solve the problem. Lean Startup is widely used in Silicon Valley in many business incubators to validate new startups. We all know that technology and digital business industry requires innovation. For example, Dropbox company started to promote their cloud solution, but only a few understood how it works in the beginning. So they made a brainstorm session and realized that the problem was that people didn't understand how Dropbox works. So they produced a video animation with diagrams to explain in a friendly way how virtual hard drive in a cloud works. That single video, made that Dropbox went viral. So everybody understood the benefits, and the rest is history. But you don't need to start up a business to learn how to lean. You can use this methodology to solve small things, like managing your team from home, or handle your clients or your suppliers as well. Analyze what are all the tools you have. You have the internet, you have smartphones with HD cameras, laptops, streaming, software, cloud solutions, social media. We can record anything. We have collaboration tools. So it's a matter of organizing creatively all the tools and creating new ways to work. You need to understand the problem and then make brainstorm sessions to prove and validate the new way to work. So we want to bring our typical or normal way to work in the home. But many people realize that it can happen. We need to do some changes. So taste it with as I said, with a small group and watch the results. It's simple. Fail fast, fail cheap, then modify and repeat until it works. As you validate your new way to work, communicate and explain it to the team or entire organization. Next, please. But something more. Be creative is equal to be brave. Many people think that they are not creative because they are lack of an ideas or because they don't know how to do it. But it's not a matter of doing, it's a matter of being brave. Because in some cases, at work, with clients, with partners, or society, you can feel like you are defying gravity or throwing fire at the sun. Deep down, honestly, you know you already have some ideas and you know how to do it. But maybe it's fear to failure that limits you. So that's why you need to be confident about yourself. How? Simple. Fail quickly and fail cheaply, modify and repeat until it works. Remember, a good idea can change your life. Thank you very much.
For your presentation. That's very interesting. We have a lot of homework and a lot of analyzing of what we can individually do to apply and think through all these challenging questions for our own persons. And now at home, I think we all have more time to ask ourselves how we apply all this. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're pleased if everybody can start to prepare their questions. I also have some for the panelists, but we're going to leave those till the end of the presentation. We have now with us Caldwell Butler, who will also present from Serviapp Americas. about what we can do in these challenging times and how to innovate and use it in the most productive and efficient manner. Thank you, Caldwell.
Thank you, Laura, and everybody else who's spoken so far, and the chamber for hosting us. I really enjoyed all the presentations so far, and I think that it's pretty clear to me that all of these different individuals are approaching the problem from a different angle. And as I was watching you guys speak, I remembered that one of the common themes is that you can have as many ideas as you want, as many plans as you want, as many technological platforms as you want, but at the end of the day, these solutions are driven by people. And our company is all about human capital solutions and connecting people around the world, different companies and different companies from different places with talent that is exceptional regardless of where they're from. So that said, in the middle of this crisis, it's time to get creative and to recognize that human capital is perhaps the single most important element of any successful business, but it's also one of the most expensive and sometimes the most difficult to manage, especially when we get into an international component. But I'll get to why it may not be as difficult as you think. So next slide, please. A little bit about SurveyApp. We are a technology-based HR solutions company, and we aid in more normal times, we aided in international expansion by allowing people to open new offices, sales operations, customer service teams, web developers, or essentially any kind of job in foreign countries. And we enabled them to do that by having those employees work on our payroll for our legal entities for tax purposes, while still having the daily control in the hands of clients back in their home country. We've realized that in the COVID-19 era, that means virtual and that means remote. And so we'll break that down a little bit. Next slide, please. A little bit about the team. The company is a family-founded business. It's out of Mexico City, Mexico, and it was founded by three brothers, David, Victor, and Julio. The bios for David and Victor show that they are an economist and a mechanical engineer, respectively. Both of them are very innovative in our field and like to anticipate problems from our clients rather than just react to them. On that theme, I was a management consultant before. I worked to unpack complicated problems that on the surface look too tangled to ever approach in an organized way. And I learned how to research and work with different people and unpack those problems and find actionable pieces as a consultant. And specifically a consultant with the military, which means I know a lot about working around gigantic bureaucracies. Next slide, please. So here we are. This is the basic premise of the event and why the Chamber decided to bring SurveyApp on today. If we look around, if every participant in this webinar looks around and thinks about where we are today versus just a few weeks ago, it's kind of incredible the amount of change that we've all seen and the amount of innovation that has been kind of forced upon us in how we work, and how we speak to each other, and how we manage tasks. And one of the heartening things about this has been that in general, most people in fields that can be done remotely are finding ways to make it work. And that's not to say that it's been easy. Changing your business model in the middle of a crisis is like fixing an engine while the car is running. But I think that one of the things that we need to realize is that now that we've made that investment and are going through that process of transformation into a more remote business, and we don't know how long that's going to be, we need to recognize that there's also a lot of benefits that can come from that. Next slide, please. So the benefit of being a remote organization is that essentially you've unlocked the world. You've made it so that the circle of talent and the circle of people that can work for you is logistically the same amount of effort as if you're hiring in your home country. So I'd like to say that if you're 3 blocks away from someone who's Zooming you, it's the same as if they're in Chile or Mexico, and that it's time to think about ways to roll that into your organization, because that provides advantages that are beyond just the immediate cost savings, which are pretty clear, but also it enriches your organization for the future. Next slide, please. Managing teams at a distance is more feasible than ever before. Well, one of the things that we recognized while we are working with clients in Mexico is that going virtual quickly can be different in different places. So for example, in the United States, one could pretty much count on a laptop with a video camera and a relatively fast internet connection at home. Well, in the case of some of our clients in Mexico and Peru, we found that to be slightly complicated, but we're able to source the equipment. So you can spin up with that, you can train people on that, you can actually give them the tools to succeed. Obviously, social distancing is one of the most important attributes of combating COVID-19. And complying with those policies and doing it in a way that doesn't interrupt your organization requires a lot of forethought, and we've worked with our clients to help make that happen. Next slide, please. That said, we also work with people that are in person. Amazon.com, Mercado Libre, other brands where essential workers have to be on the front lines. So we also have to innovate in that space. We have to recognize, to the extent that you do have to come in, how do you control for that? How do you make sure that people don't get infected in the first place? You see the protective equipment on those people. And also, how do you understand people's reactions to different policies? So top level executives can draft policies about, for example, sick leave. They can talk about doing a graphic for social distancing. But at the end of the day, if people don't understand it and if people aren't engaged with it and it's not relevant with their lives, then it's not going to be effective. For example, we exceed the standards of one of our clients. We provide unconditional paid sick leave. If somebody is sick, they stay home and they understand that we will pay them for the full extent of their contract for whatever they were going to do in a warehouse or a trucking line or whatever. The reason why we do that is because we understand that these people can often have a choice between paying their bills and working. And we don't want to put people in a position where they have to make that choice. And so we make it easier for them. And in the end of the day, we actually won additional contracts to service COVID-19 mitigation because of that policy that we had internally. Next slide, please. So one of the core things about PEO is that we make it so that however you run your business in the United States or Canada or wherever you're from, we figure out how to localize that and make sure that your policies and dictates are legal in the country where you've hired people at a distance. So in the case of Mexico, for example, there may be some more flexibility. There may be some restrictions. Like, for example, certain people have accepted lower salaries temporarily. More restrictively, Mexico is pretty strict when it comes to laws about layoffs. Without massive layoffs or a more complicated legal proposition. And we advise our clients to that regard and make sure that anything they want to do is not going to cause any problems or bring any attention to them. Obviously, at the end of the day, we want to do everything we can to make sure that the layoff doesn't happen. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the good news of one of these, of having a newly virtualized organization, whether you want it to or not, is that you have access to new tools to address one of the most critical things, which is how you're going to keep operating, how your funds are, how you're going to be liquid, how you're going to be able to meet the commitments of your clients. So obviously, one of the first things is cutting down on labor costs, cutting overhead, and layoffs and furloughs. The first two are obviously preferable, and we can address those. If you can Zoom somebody three blocks away, you can Zoom somebody 3 countries away. We really feel that not only is it a cost proposition to find somebody that, for example, can do a job as a software developer for roughly half of what it would be in the United States, it's also enriching your company. It is making it more flexible, more innovative, and giving you new perspectives on the other end of the crisis. Would you mind going to the next slide, please? Excuse me, I have to plug my laptop in. So on efficiencies, it's pretty clear. Everybody understands that working in Mexico or working in Chile or working in Peru can provide a more economical way of finding talent. But in normal times, when confronted with all of the things that have to happen in order to bring that into reality, many businesses, and I'm sure many of you watching right now, decided that it just wasn't worth it. So a few of the top ones, of course, are logistical. You know, how are you actually going to manage that team? Cultural, it's hard to work across borders. Compliance, you don't know anything about the laws. And administration. Again, managing paperwork and the actual day-to-day of an organization is a challenge. Well, I would posit that the crisis has made it so that we've had to address the logistical concerns. Cultural concerns, English-speaking and well-traveled people around the world understand how to work in an international environment. Your Googles, your Ubers, your Facebooks have offices all throughout the Americas, and there's exceptional talent that have met and exceeded the standards in places like that, and they're willing to work for people, and they're willing to work for other companies. Well, and the last two, essentially you take those off your plate. If you're working with a partner whose job is literally to do those two things, compliance and administration. So by being the legal employer, Serviapp absorbs all of those elements for you. We are ultimately the ones who are responsible to pay the tax. We are ultimately the ones who are responsible to make sure that everyone gets the benefits they're supposed to get. And ultimately, if there's any problem, we're the ones who are legally exposed, which means that as much, if not more than you, the client, it is our interest to make sure everything goes well. Next slide, please. So this is going to push that point even further. This is an optimistic design of what it normally would take to have a company where you hire somebody to work for you in a different country. All of these different parts have to work together. Most of them require a different consultant or a different expert to make it happen. So researching, localization, selecting the proper site. Okay, now we've got a real estate guy. Creating a legal entity. Well, there's a lawyer. Taxes and compliance, there's an accountant. Immigration sponsorship, maybe a different lawyer. Accounting, I think that could be taken care of. The first guy, insurance, that's a broker. Office space, that's a broker. Recruiting, that's a different guy. All of those things have to work together. And if any one of those people is not in lockstep, or if any of them skips a step and leaves you in the lurch, you're going to find that everything that you've done to get towards the end, you may spend 6 months or a year even trying to get your operations going, and it goes to nothing. But here's the good thing. Next slide, please. When you combine all of those steps into one house, like Serviapp does, we have the lawyer, we have the accountant, we can get the real estate for you, we can get the equipment for you, we can recruit the person for you. Your process now looks like this. We recruit them for you, hire them. If you want, we get them their laptops, and after that, we manage them for you. So we go from maybe a year to about 2 weeks before somebody is working for you at a distance. And that stands for any sort of position you can think. Next slide. These are some of our top clients. You remember we were talking about logistics, on-site, warehouse. Obviously, that's Amazon. Sony, Prada, international brands. They use us to help with their satellite offices. We do their HR and administration. And we've been really happy to grow with that business. That's why they decided to hire me, because they found that that they're a Mexican company with global ambitions. And in the last 5 years, we've opened branches in Argentina, Peru, Chile, and Brazil. And knock on wood, if I close a deal tomorrow, as I hope to do, we're going to open an entity in Colombia. So before I move on to any sort of Q&A, I just wanted to make a comment about what motivates us beyond just cost savings. And I hope motivates you guys. I think that many people here are bilingual, binational, international people that have a circle. Everyone has a circle of friends. Everyone has a circle of relationships. And when you are international and when you are bilingual and you are multicultural, that circle becomes bigger and your world becomes bigger and your understanding becomes bigger. And for me personally, that has enhanced my life so much. And as a business, I think that that's valuable as well. On the other side of this crisis, once we've gotten all of our books in order and we're running more efficiently, I also want to say that we can be a partner in making it so that your business is in a bigger circle, with bigger perspectives, access to new markets, with new ideas, and more innovation. I think that basically through us, there is no limit to the kind of strategies that you can pursue around the world, because now the risks that were preventing you from exploring, from taking that leap, from being creative, like Francisco was saying, well, we eliminate most of those risks for you and let you be free to run and do what you want to do and innovate and take what made you successful at home and bring it around the world. So with that, I very much appreciate everybody's time, and we'll be open to any questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Caldwell. I think all the presentations gave us a lot to think about, and definitely there's a new post-COVID world awaiting us once we're released from our homes, that we're all eager to leave. So,
Yeah.
and there will be a lot of things that we can apply. If anybody has questions, please forward them through the system. And I do have some questions to each of our panelists that I think are important to wrap up. We have 15 minutes, more or less. So for Jorge Cano, right now in this moment that we are in the COVID-19 and hopefully starting to, at least in certain parts of the world, starting to release and to stop the stay home and lockdown orders, why would you think it's imperative for any business to invest in digital marketing?
All right. Well, from it, if like I was saying, if you don't make the change now, you definitely gotta be out of business. And this COVID-19, it's not gonna go away soon. That's the reality. So the sooner you do this, the better off you're gonna be. All right. Also, you need to be visible, not only for your actual clients, but your new clients. Like I was saying before, if you don't invest in digital marketing nowadays, going back to, first of all, we won't be able to go back to normal business. Business will change forever. Our lives will change forever. So investing in digital marketing right now is your best bet. Right now is the best way to really get noticeable. Like I was saying before, first you need to think about the strategy on how you're going to convert your company or your business or your service or your product, whatever that is, into a virtual service product or whatever. Once you do that, then you have to come up with a strategy in order to be able to. But if you don't invest in marketing, you will disappear. I mean, right now it's so easy to do it, easier than ever before, especially now. Now we have more people waiting for your message, for your information, to get to know you than ever before. I mean, we're talking over 2,000 million people. I mean, gosh, this is an amazing opportunity, but you have to take advantage of it. And really, you have to promote digital marketing. If you don't do that, my friends, you're missing an excellent opportunity.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. I think we have to, because of how we're working these days, but we will even more so considering the situation we're in. Francisco Valencia, investment in technology. I think there's a combination of digital marketing and technology and how we need it. So what would you recommend? Do we wait? Do we start now? How do we start on investing in technology?
I think it depends on your strategy. So I won't say invest in technology right now, but I would say invest on testing and invest on experimenting what you want, what you want to do when this ends. So this is the perfect time to catch up if you haven't if you haven't made efforts and with digital transformation efforts, you can do it now. So you will be ready for when people start getting back to the new normal, the new normal, the new normality. They will have they will find you. So as Jorge just said, if you don't transform yourself digitally, you will be out of business, and this is a very good time to do it. I'm not saying that you have to invest on a specific tool right now, but you have to start iterating, testing, prototyping, so you're ready for, I think, November, December, January, that people are getting back to the new normal.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Francisco Gonzalez, I don't know if you could give us one example of how to use the creativity that you talked about in our current stay home and work from home mode.
Is my mic off on? Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. When we start to do WebEx and Zooms and video streaming, I realized that I need to prepare some place in my apartment to do it without problems. On or TikToks, many videos that happens. So from people or all the grandma, or their video free. So I go thinking lateral. And for example, I stop all the streams in my home for a webinar like this, for the bandwidth flows, the all bandwidth. I use my lights, so because in my apartment there's no much light, so I put my four lights to have clearly. As you see, I point or I direct my camera. Don't see anything in my apartment for that kind of problems we can have. But I learned to use like Zoom, like WebEx, like all the video streamings for make this kind of webinars or meetings remotely. And all the software have a lot of tools that we can use to have better experience. I talk slowly is one issue, because sometimes it's freezing the audio or the video, and talk slowly helps to have a better communication. And this is the most important. When I go to meeting, I write a meeting agenda. This is very important.
Thank you, thank you. I will remember to speak slowly, because that is one of my personal weaknesses, especially in Spanish. So thank God we're in English now. Okay, well, thank you very much. I have one last question, but we need to really, we have 5 minutes left to 6 o'clock, and we need to finish. So Caldwell, I think we explained to us how the recruiting works. I don't know if how long it takes to get someone in Mexico. I think you kind of said it would be really efficiently quick, but I don't know if you could quickly tell us how fast we can have someone working in Mexico, for example.
Happy to answer that. I've sourced people as quickly as 1 week. It depends on the role. Well, that was for a call center, right? So you need somebody who speaks decent English, has a telephone, and likes to have enough money to eat. That was pretty easy. But then it's like, we also have a single individual that is the representative of a Japanese investment bank. I can't say the name, pero si entienden español, es un banco blando. And this organization basically needed one individual, and they already knew who they were. That was easy. There was no real recruiting. They were just placed. But if you're looking for like a high-level executive right now, I'm trying to source somebody that's going to be a logistics manager for a Chinese company. That may take us about 2.5, 3 weeks on average. The reason why we do that is because there's multiple layers to it. There's the initial search, obviously. There's getting your crop of people, and we take care of the basic requirements. So if your requirement is software engineers are a good example because it's very fine. Have it or they don't. So let's say this software engineer needs to have Python and experience in web design. He needs 4 years at least, and he needs to be fluent in English. Okay, cool. Those are all things that are quantifiable, and we as Certified can review in preliminary interviews. So we're going to do that, and that will take, setting up a meeting with that person, doing an interview with that person, waiting for their documents, waiting for their title, English, waiting for their degree. Will, that can take a little bit, a while. But once we have that information, we go from the initial group of people down to about 5 that actually are with your requirements. And at that point, the timeline is with the client. They do the interviews, they make the final decision. But once they give us the green light, we can place somebody within days.
Perfect. Oh my God, that's efficient. That's important for all of us to consider. Well, I think we really want to thank our 4 amazing panelists. I think, like I said before, they gave us a lot of food for thought, and hopefully we'll apply all this knowledge and expertise to our lives somehow, and we'll reach out to them as needed. And I also wanted to present one of our members, Miguel Borunda from Palms and Associate. It's a risk control and insurance company, and he wanted to give us a little bit of a final few comments for closing of our presentation today. Miguel, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Beloved Marlene, thank you for your hard work in putting this great informative webinar together. Cheers to our sponsors. Thank you. Cheers to our sponsors, Shepherd Mullen and Carlton Fields, Ambassador Marcela Celorio, thank you for your presence and participation. Laura, you done a great job. Thank you for leading this program. Jorge, Francisco, and Francisco Caldwell, thank you for your relevant and great information. Excellent job, gentlemen. And thank you to all of our guests for taking the time to engage with us. And as Jorge stated earlier, we need to be a solution providers. And yes, we are advisors to our clients in these times, times that we never expected we were going to have. As Laura said, I'm Miguel Borunda, and I'm a broker there in Palms and Associates, where we focus on risk control and insurance. And as this pandemic challenge arose, Palms implemented a communications committee. And this was to provide helpful guidance to our clients. And I wanted to share some information with you, make it sweet and to the point. I'm going to share some information with Marlene so she can send it to you guys, so you can use for yourself or your company, and also share with your friends and clients to help them through these times. So most of business as owners' thoughts in this very moment, and I'm sure your clients, is how are my operations going to look like? What do I do to be safe? And as Caldwell, you stated just now, being compliant. There's a lot of nerves, fear, and to me, culture and safety is very important. To help this concern, we created the COVID-19 return to work practices to maintain employee and customer safety and health. And for businesses that have been closed, now that federal, state, and local governments are starting to unveil plans to ease stay-at-home orders and reopen the economy, employers are faced with questions regarding returning employees to work while maintaining that safety and health of the coworkers, not only coworkers, but customers, vendors, others in the workplace. So when employees finally re-enter the workplace and operations resume, employers will need to make difficult decisions in these weeks and months to come. How do employers go about recalling employees who have been working from home on furlough? It's going to be one of them. Will compensation and benefits need to be reassessed? Will the physical workplace look the same? What accommodations need to be made? How are we going to make this happen? And how can employers plan for a future disease outbreak or other terrible event that, as you know, we weren't prepared for? but we've been adapted as human nature and as the human species. It's pretty easy for us to take a challenge head on and grab the bull from the horns. And some legal and public health issues must be considered to ensure the safety and health of employees as they return to work. In addition to federal guidance and recommendations, employers will need to take into account the ever-evolving orders, right? There's going to be recommendations and guidance from state and local authorities. Many employers will be encouraged, if not required, to continue with teleworking, just the way that we're doing right now. I've never been in so many webinars before, and even the happy hours are my favorite ones. 3 hours pass by and 2 bottles of wine go by. Jorge and Francisco, technology, yes, will be its highest demand. You can see that in the stock market. And there's going to be some steps for both owned facilities and leased facilities to think about. Focus on the areas such as common areas, right? Break rooms, lunch rooms, and bathrooms. They're gonna have to create a schedule for regular and frequent disinfecting of common areas. Yes, Lysol is going to be high demand. All these hand sanitizers companies are now going into the breweries and other facilities to keep on doing this. So finally, I mean, be prepared to modify and update your procedures as situation warrants and federal, state, and local regulations change. Caldwell, I think this is going to be, this information I'm going to give from Marlene, it's going to be 2 documents. It's going to be good for you to just take in consideration since you have this input on providing service to a bunch of office spaces. There's for business, for building owners and lease people that lease the spaces. So I just thank you for allowing me to take this time to say that to you, and I'll make sure to give you this valuable information to all of our participants today. May God bless you guys. Keep positive, keep your energy. We will strive, and everybody's going to come back and hug each other and kiss each other and be in harmony. Cheers. Thank you, Marlene.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you very much for those words. Much appreciated as a very valuable information. Thank you. Well, thank you. All. Michelle, I think, Marlene, you can say the final.
Thank you. I have one question, a personal question first of all, I want to thank everybody because it was very interesting information that we need to be aware of, all the companies that we're going through right now. My question is, for example, so I'm going to go more digital. I'm going to change my mindset on doing business. I am going to buy new software. I'm going to implement it, et cetera, et cetera. For like small companies, especially small companies, it's difficult to spend the money on technology because technology can be very expensive. So you're learning to implement it in your company, and then in 4 months there's a new technology. How can you keep up with all this new technology? I mean, my phone, for example, is very old, and I really don't care. But there's some things that you need to be up to date, right, to survive. So for small companies, what do you recommend that they should do in order to survive this very difficult situation? Any of you, Francisco, Jorge, Francisco Gonzalez, Owen?
Hey, I'd like to take that. I'd say that one of the new interesting things about being can be a global organization. And frankly, a smaller operation might find that some of the savings of being more flexible and being international and who they hire, those savings are even more essential to them than a global behemoth like Colgate or Johnson & Johnson that can absorb $1 billion here, $1 billion there, golden parachutes, whatever. So even small organizations, and frankly, I think even more than the large, deeply established corporations, they're operating closer to the edge. They don't have the institutional connections to get bailed out on a massive level that some of the more connected Fortune 500s do. They don't have the institutional inertia. And so I think that one of the quickest things that you can do to turn your revenue around, and I would never recommend laying someone off and then hiring someone else, but let's say if you have a contract that you closed and you were feeling great about it before the crisis, oh no, it turns out you're still committed to your client, you were going to hire 10 engineers to make this happen. Well, you can do both things. You can fulfill your obligations. You can do it cheaper. You can do it quicker. And ultimately, I always like to say that one has low key market penetration in the new country in which you weren't planning on working, but hey, there you are.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Anybody else? San Francisco, you're the.
Yeah, I want to add to that because I talk about you will always be outdated. So be prepared to that. When you're dealing with technology, you will always be outdated. So you have to think strategically. So you don't acquire tools that will get obsolete very quickly. So you're trying to get something that you at least can operate for a year or 2 years. So so it won't be obsolete until you do your next budget and you consider the money that you have to invest to update those technologically empowered tools.
Okay.
I
Thank you.
just want to add something. I think I don't matter if your technology is 2 or 3 years old or 4 years. I think the hero of this pandemic is internet. Imagine 20 years ago or 30 years ago, it was happen and no one can communicate as fast as we do today. If you have communication, you can have this kind of video stuff. You can manage or leading your team. You can make as we are front to front with a client or suppliers. And I think it could be easy if we can solve anything or everything with money, but that's not creative. I think we have all the tools we need, and this is the most important, just our brain. Thank you.
That's a wonderful advice.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Jorge, you had a question as well?
Well, actually, I just would like to add, maybe what you need to know is that that how to convert your company into digital if you not have done it so far. The first thing that you need to do is to create the strategy to transform your company from physical to digital. This is a must nowadays. I know that there are many challenges, but if you're not certain of how to do it, get professional assistance, get some consultation, get someone with experience in order to have success with your transition. This is very important to do. Here at La Agencia TV, we have helped over 500 companies such as Samsung, LG, Frigidaire, Curaçao, Monte de Pilar to reach their success. Like Francisco was saying, your creative, your story. If you create your story, it could change your life, and it's true. We have done that for many companies. My suggestion is prepare yourself in order to be able to create those persuasive messages, to be able to create your story as a powerful story. For example, sometimes, like he was saying, he suggests 2 books, which are great books, get informative, but that's not it. I mean, if you get the information, that's great. Become knowledgeable. Apply the knowledge in order to now you are knowledgeable. Once you do all that, it's like I have prepared myself for over 3 years for this moment to exceed any client's expectations. I know sometimes it can be overwhelming, but when you're meeting new challenges, especially if there is a lack of knowledge, it could be very, very stressful. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, if you do it right, you'll be able to reach your goals. Learn how to utilize technology to your advantage, expand your possibilities. This will help you get where you want to get. It is an opportunity for any company. I don't care if you're small, medium, large. This is the time. Perfect moment, like Francisco was saying. The internet, it's the hero, and you have everybody waiting for you. So take advantage of it.
Thank you. Thank you all very, very much. We sincerely appreciate the presence of all of you, especially the Ambassador Marcela Celorio for being here with us, our moderator Laura Nava, Francisco Gonzalez, Francisco Valencia Caldwell, Jorge Cano, and all of you that spent with us almost an hour and 45 minutes. And we're going to conclude our program. I just wanted to invite you to our next webinar on May 13, next week, Wednesday. It's called Mexico's Economic Outlook During and After the COVID and the Impact of the Maquiladora Industry with the senior economist of Citibank, Banamex from Mexico. Very, very, very excellent, distinguished speaker that we have. He's going to talk about the situation in Mexico, the economy, the depreciation, Pemex, many things that are happening right now. So we invite you to join us. It's going to be a great program. And then we're also having a program with the Secretary of Tourism of Mexico, Mr. Manuel Torruco. We'll talk about the tourism of Mexico, what is happening with that industry, what are the contingency planning that we're organizing with the tourism of Baja California. Sigfrido Pineda is here. Thank you, Sigfrido, for helping us organize that. And we thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the rest of the week. And we welcome you all at the chamber always. It's a pleasure to have you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Marlene. Thank you very much.
Thank you to all.
Bye, everyone.
Gracias. Buenas tardes. Bye. Bye.
Gracias a todos.
Estén muy bien. Gracias.